Welcome back to Arch Zenith. Do you look at your compact outdoor area and wonder if it's possible to create that dreamy, time-worn garden aesthetic you've been craving? Well, I'm here to tell you that limited square footage is no barrier to achieving spectacular vintage charm. In today's video, we're diving into practical design strategies that will help you craft a nostalgic, rustic garden sanctuary, no matter how small your space may be. Let's get started. Segment 1. Repurposed vintage containers. One of the most effective ways to infuse instant character into your garden is by repurposing forgotten items as unique planters. Consider giving second life to old watering cans, enamel cookware, antique sinks, and weathered metal buckets. For more substantial plantings, wine barrels and galvanized tubs offer excellent options. The smaller pieces work wonderfully when arranged in thoughtful groupings throughout your garden. What makes these repurposed elements so special is their genuine history. Each piece carries its own narrative, adding depth and warmth to your outdoor environment. Segment 2. Antique Terracotta Collection. There's an undeniable appeal to terracotta containers that have survived multiple decades. These clay vessels develop beautiful characteristics over time: mineral streaks, moss colonies, and natural weathering that create surfaces you simply cannot reproduce artificially. I recommend hunting for these treasures at flea markets, estate liquidations, and specialty antique dealers. Focus on finding pieces that display genuine wear and distinctive features. When you arrange them in clustered formations at different elevations, you'll create compelling visual layers, even in the most confined garden settings. The warm earthen hues and varied textures provide an ideal backdrop for your vintage design approach. Segment 3. Vertical growing solutions. When your horizontal space is at a premium, shift your thinking upward. Weathered wrought iron shelving mounted on walls creates tiered displays for potted plants. Reclaimed wood shelf systems offer similar functionality while reinforcing that rustic aesthetic. Here's a clever trick. Position vintage ladders against your fencing to create instant vertical growing zones that maintain authentic character. This strategy accomplishes two important goals. It conserves valuable ground area while directing attention skyward, which actually makes compact gardens feel more spacious and engaging. When you grow upward rather than outward, every available inch becomes both functional and attractive. Segment 4. Weathered pergola structures. Even the most limited backyard can become an inviting outdoor haven with the right overhead structure. Select beams that display natural weathering and age-related character for genuine rustic appeal. The key is proper scaling. Your pergola should provide adequate coverage for climbing plants like roses or grapevines without dominating the entire garden. The filtered sunlight beneath creates an ideal location for intimate seating, while the vertical growing potential adds romantic dimension to your compact design scheme. Segment 5. Victorian-inspired gazebos. Introduce elegant historical charm through a proportionally sized wrought iron gazebo. Seek out designs featuring detailed scrollwork and decorative elements that serve as striking focal points without consuming excessive space. Finishes in white or weathered tones work particularly well, especially when subtle rust shows through in select areas. Enhance your gazebo by training climbing plants like jasmine or roses over its framework, and incorporate hanging containers for additional vertical interest. This architectural feature functions as both a destination point and a peaceful retreat within your vintage garden setting. Segment 6. Climbing frames and trellises. Expand your planting capacity by installing vintage trellises and climbing supports that transform walls and fencing into productive growing surfaces. Antique wooden lattice panels and decorative wrought iron frameworks contribute architectural character while supporting plants like jasmine, clematis, and grapevines. These vertical elements establish natural screening and help establish distinct areas within compact gardens. The pairing of aged materials with flourishing climbing plants introduces texture, fragrance, and enduring rustic sophistication to even the smallest outdoor areas. Segment 7. Mediterranean gravel pathways. Create both practical circulation and aesthetic appeal with Mediterranean-style gravel paths. Design gently curving routes using cream or tan pea gravel, bordered by aromatic herbs such as lavender, thyme, and rosemary. The subtle sound underfoot, combined with fragrant plantings, creates a multi-sensory experience as people move through your compact garden. Define your path edges with weathered brick or natural stone for clear boundaries and authentic character. This straightforward design feature introduces movement and organization while preserving the relaxed, aged quality that characterizes vintage rustic gardens. Segment 8. Salvaged material pathways. Make every footstep meaningful by constructing pathways from reclaimed elements. Mix antique stepping stones with salvaged wood planks and vintage bricks arranged in herringbone or other traditional patterns to form winding routes through your plantings. Each weathered component contributes its own background and personality to the overall design. Encourage creeping thyme and moss to establish themselves along edges and between pavers for a naturally aged look. These custom pathways bring cohesion to small garden spaces through sustainable charm and genuine rustic character. Segment 9. Cottage wildflower gardens. Bring countryside meadow romance into your confined backyard through strategic wildflower planting. Incorporate cosmos, poppies, cornflowers, and Queen Anne's lace in graduated heights to achieve abundant cottage-style appeal. While the overall effect appears spontaneous and natural, thoughtful planning ensures maximum impact within your limited area. These cheerful blooms attract beneficial pollinators and require relatively little ongoing care. Wildflower compositions evoke nostalgic visions of historical country estates and deliver that timeless, effortless beauty right to your urban sanctuary. Segment 10. Reclaimed wood raised beds. Vintage wooden fruit crates and salvaged lumber make wonderfully characterful raised bed gardens ideal for compact spaces. Configure weathered crates in L formations or parallel arrangements to optimize growing area while maintaining genuine farmhouse appeal. The silvery patina of aged wood and faded original lettering provide visual interest that extends beyond the plants themselves. These elevated beds offer superior drainage and easier maintenance while introducing varying heights that add dimension to compact landscapes. Fill them with vegetables, culinary herbs, or ornamental flowers for productive rustic beauty. Segment 11. Edible ornamental combinations. There's no need to choose between visual appeal and harvest potential. You can achieve both simultaneously. Design a stunning rustic kitchen garden by intermixing edible plants with decorative flowers. Combine purple kale with zinnias, ruby chard with marigolds, and basil alongside lavender for compelling color and texture contrasts. Utilize vintage baskets and wooden containers as miniature raised beds for strawberries and salad greens. This cottage garden methodology maximizes productivity in small areas while creating visual interest that extends from spring through autumn. Practicality and aesthetics merge seamlessly in this enduring garden approach. Segment 12. Architectural salvage ornaments. Enhance your small garden with carefully chosen vintage ornamental pieces from architectural salvage sources. A weathered stone urn positioned on a moss-covered pedestal creates an elegant focal point, while a compact sundial serves as a garden centerpiece with timeless sophistication. Antique cast-iron statuary displaying authentic rust and patina adds visual weight without overwhelming limited space. Select pieces that guide the eye through different garden zones and harmonize with your plantings. These ornamental treasures contribute historical depth and refined rustic charm to intimate outdoor environments. Segment 13. Repurposed furniture elements. Transform vintage furniture into distinctive garden features. An antique chair with distressed white paint becomes a charming planter showcase, while weathered benches function as potting stations surrounded by terracotta containers. Old bistro tables provide workspace and visual interest, and damaged cane chairs fitted with wire baskets hold cascading flowers. Each repurposed piece displays authentic wear that enhances nostalgic appeal while offering functional seating and work surfaces. This creative strategy adds personality and conversation-worthy charm to compact gardens. Segment 14. Window boxes and wall planters. Optimize every vertical surface with vintage-style window boxes and wall-mounted containers, perfectly suited for narrow spaces. Secure weathered wooden boxes painted in soft pastels to fence rails, filling them with vibrant annuals and trailing plants. Mount galvanized metal planters with aged patina in clusters on vertical surfaces, and hang repurposed enamel containers from rustic hooks. This vertical gardening approach creates abundant plantings without sacrificing precious ground area. The cascading blooms at various elevations introduce softness, color, and authentic rustic charm throughout your compact garden. Segment 15. Vintage-inspired lighting. Extend your garden enjoyment into evening hours with vintage-inspired illumination that creates enchanting ambience. Suspend Edison bulb lanterns from pergola beams and arrange string lights with visible filaments along fence lines and through tree branches. Position antique metal lanterns on tables and stone surfaces for flickering candlelight atmosphere. These strategically placed lighting elements transform your small garden into a captivating outdoor room after dark. The warm illumination enhances the rustic aesthetic while providing practical lighting for evening relaxation. In your intimate backyard retreat, Segment 16. Seasonal vintage decorations. Maintain visual interest throughout the year by rotating seasonal decorations with vintage character. Fill weathered wheelbarrows with autumn pumpkins and dried corn stalks. Arrange pine wreaths on vintage ladders during winter. Display spring bulbs in antique buckets and showcase summer blooms in galvanized containers. Use natural materials like branches, dried hydrangeas, and ornamental grasses in aged vessels appropriate to each season. This approach sustains a consistent vintage aesthetic while honoring nature's changing cycles, ensuring your compact garden remains charming and welcoming throughout all seasons. And there we have it. Comprehensive strategies for bringing vintage rustic charm to your small garden space. From repurposed containers and antique implements to climbing structures and seasonal accents, each concept adds layers of character and timeless appeal to your outdoor environment. If you found value in these design ideas, please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to Arch Zenith for more architectural and garden inspiration. And I'd love to hear about your favorite vintage garden element in the comments below. Until next time, happy gardening.